This landing page was designed by V0, Vercel's design tool. But it does not live on Vercel. It lives inside WordPress, and every single word you can see on it is editable from the admin panel. 11 sections and not one image anywhere on it. The whole thing is HTML and CSS. And underneath, there is nothing exotic going on. It is an ordinary WordPress install running an Elementor theme serving an ordinary page. An agent built it across 4 separate rounds. I am going to show you all 4 of them, including the 2 rounds where it got things wrong. Let's start at the beginning. I asked V0 for a landing page for a calendar app, and a few seconds later it handed me this. V0 makes genuinely beautiful designs. That has never once been the problem. Problem is what it hands back to you. A single HTML file. Lovely to look at and completely dead. Nobody on your team is going to edit that, and your client is certainly never going to touch it. So I ask V0 for the plain HTML version of the design, and I copy the whole thing. I paste it into a brand new file called index.html, sitting in an empty folder. That is all there is. No theme, no build step, no dependencies of any kind. And sure enough, with a local server running, there is the V0 page exactly as designed, working perfectly happily outside of WordPress. Now for the connection. Inside the WordPress admin, under NoLeemits AI Design, there is a tab called MCP Connection. That is where you generate the access token. It is worth giving every token its own name. If several people sign in through the same WordPress user account, that label is the only thing that tells you afterwards who was actually connected. This one is for ChatGPT Codex. And it writes the configuration out for you, ready-made, for whichever client you happen to use. Claude Desktop, Claude Code, or the terminal directly with the command already assembled and waiting. I am going with Codex. You paste the command, hit enter, and the MCP server is registered against the project. That is genuinely everything you have to install on the editor side of this. One test button, and the connection answers back straight away. From this point onwards, the agent can read pages and write pages inside this WordPress install. And this is the entire prompt, exactly as I sent it, with nothing trimmed out. It is 3 sentences long. There is an index.html in the folder with a landing page in it. Replicate that page with editable fields using the AI design connection and build it as a regular page. That last detail matters a great deal more than it sounds like it does, which is why I stop off in settings first. You have to leave the plugin switched on for ordinary WordPress pages, not only for the plugin's own post type. Otherwise the page is born in the wrong place. Right, I send the prompt off and it starts working. 8 minutes and 12 seconds later, it says that it is finished. And that number is not one I am measuring with a stopwatch. The agent puts it on screen itself. And along with it, the rest of the report. Page 13, status draft, post type regular page, 11 editable sections, validation with no warnings at all, and the original index.html file left completely untouched. So how did it come out? At first glance, almost identical. And that is exactly the trap in claiming something worked perfectly first time. From a distance, everything always works, so let's do the opposite and look at it up close. Up close it is not identical. The calendar is sitting at a strange angle, the whites are not quite white, and the navigation bar is far too heavy. Now, I could open the inspector and fix all of that by hand, but that is the whole point here. You should not have to be a developer. So I do what anybody else would do. I take screenshots, one of my page, one of the V0 original with the address bar in shot, and I paste both of them straight into the chat without explaining anything further. That is the correction channel, pictures, not code. And here is one thing a screenshot simply cannot carry. That calendar is a 3-dimensional animation that tilts to follow your mouse. That part one have to describe to it in words. 5 minutes and 3 seconds for the second round. Once again, that is the agent's own clock and not mine, and the list of what it changed goes through it point by point. Stripped out the oversized page title the theme was stacking on top, it put the whites back where they belonged, and it added the 3-dimensional tilt to all 3 calendars, with fallbacks for mobile and for anyone browsing with reduced motion turned on. One ugly detail is left over. That pink flash that shows up when you hover across the questions. The agent did not put that there. It is leaking in from the Elementor theme. And here is the part one personally liked the most. Instead of describing where the problem is in a chat window, I point at it directly on the page itself. Click the section and leave the comment right there on top of it. I leave 2 of them. one about the pink it is inheriting from the theme, and one asking for that section heading to stay pinned in place while you scroll past it, because there is an enormous amount of empty space sitting there. Both comments are anchored to their own section. All I actually say to the agent is this: go and review the comments and then fix them. Not a single coordinate, not a selector, and not one class name anywhere. It finds them on its own. It reports that there are 2 open notes, both of them on the frequently asked questions section, and that it will scope the fixes to that section so nothing else on the site moves. 1 minute and 11 seconds. It overrode the theme's pink, it pinned the heading on desktop and left it normal on mobile, and it closed both of the comments out. I refresh the page, and there it is. The section heading stays pinned in place as you scroll down past it. All of that empty space is gone, and both of the comments have been marked as resolved without me touching anything at all. Pink is gone as well. But there is still one thing wrong with it, and it happens to be the one that shows the most. The font sizes are not the ones from the original V0 design. I check it by putting my page and the V0 page side by side, and it is true. The headings on those cards are running considerably larger than they are supposed to be. Same route as always, one screenshot of the 2 of them together and one sentence. Everything is perfect apart from the font sizes. And I want to stop here for a second because to me this is the single most important part of the whole video. I am genuinely glad that these mistakes happened while I was recording. I will be honest with you here. Things almost never come out right on the very first attempt, not with this plugin, not with any agent at all, and not with me handwriting the code myself on a Tuesday afternoon either. What did happen is that it landed close enough, and that fixing the rest of it came down to 4 sentences and a few minutes. And a fair part of the mess probably comes from the HTML that V0 handed me, rather than from the plugin. 2 minutes and 19 seconds, and what comes back is not a patch. It is the entire typescale, rebuilt and measured against the original file. So that is the scoreboard, and all 4 of those clocks appear on screen in this video. 4 rounds, 16 minutes and 45 seconds of agent time for an 11-section page. I did not write a single line of code myself. There we go. The sizes are correct now, and the page reads the way the original design does. But none of this is worth anything if what you end up with is a slab of HTML pasted inside a page. So here is the real test. I open it up to edit it. And there is no HTML. There are named fields: the eyebrow, the main headline, the description, the label on each button, the social proof line, section by section, all 11 of them, and this is just the ordinary WordPress editor. Let's actually go and try it. I want Halden with a capital H, and I want the place that currently says product to say products in the plural instead, and save. And on the live page, done, without touching a single line of code, and without opening any visual page builder at all. And if you are a developer and what you actually want is fine-grained control, that is exactly what advanced mode on each section is there for. There you get the code editor for that one section on its own, the markup, the CSS, and the JavaScript, each in its own tab. You change whatever you like, you save it, and it stays changed. And if a section has come out particularly well, you save it into the library with its own name and its own tags, and you can drop it into another page whenever you need that section again. Let's be fair about this because it matters more than the scoreboard does. The design is not mine and it is not the plugin's. It is version 0's, and it is very good. This was one single run, one prompt on a local site. The page is static, and there were 2 rounds of mistakes I had not planned for. What it does demonstrate is the bridge, a V0 design turned into a real WordPress page, one that somebody who cannot write code is genuinely able to edit. And I am telling you this as a developer, because that is what I am. I have burned entire afternoons dragging boxes around in a page builder to end up with something worse than this. That part of the job simply does not need doing anymore. In the next video, I will show you the plugin that works alongside this one, and gives you full control over the whole WordPress install. The plugin is NoLeemits AI Design, and I have left the link for it down in the description. If this saves you one afternoon of work, it has already paid for itself.